Hey YouTube. I recently did a live interview on my Twitch with legendary musician and gamer named James Landino. This is a new series I am starting on my Twitch called Niche. Follow my Twitter at Bromead for the next one. Enjoy. Let me know in the comments what you think.
How to start this? I don't know how to do this. How do I do this? This is ridiculous. Hey gamers. Hey gamers. Hey gamers. Hey gamers. I don't know. What's me? What's me in Hey Gamer? What is me in Hey Gamers? Is it like more like Hey Gamer, or is it more like Hey Gamers? Or is it more like Hey Gamers? Just start with gamer. Okay, great. Let's do that. Perfect. Cool. Gamers. Hi gamers.
Yo, it's way too funny to not start with that. Yo, what's up, gamers? I'm Demo. Welcome to Niche. This is a new interview series about digging into what makes people we admire. Well, I admire, but maybe you too. The people we admire. As someone who's worked in many different industries, as a UX researcher, user experience researcher, if you're unfamiliar, Google later, for 12 years now, I've always felt like I should use my superhero interviewing powers for personal gain at some point. So that's what this video series is. It's me interviewing people cooler than me for content. So today I have the joy, episode 1, of introducing someone I admire a lot. I actually met him online 2 years ago through Twitch and Twitter, through our mutual love of music and games and nerding out about Discord's UX. This episode is called Music, Games, and Music Games because, like we were talking about the other day, we both kind of chose to spec into different tech trees in life, but we share that base tree for sure that then branched out. So he's likely best known for No Straight Roads, a game that I haven't bought yet. Oops. Of course, as well as creating the music Demetrius, an awesome Citus song that is in the best Stepmania pack of all time called Tech Heavy Charts, which you can download at omead.gg/THC. No, but seriously, he founded Rare Drop, which is a music publishing company, dedicated to building talent within the video game VGM music scene. His Twitter bio says he's doing something called Omega Strikers. Please welcome the ever so talented, fashionable, funny, anime-loving, hell of a Renaissance man, James Landino. What is up, my guy? And welcome. I don't know if I want to call this a podcast, but you're on it, and we're here together.
What's going on, man? I saw you talking, but I couldn't hear you. So I hope you said a lot of great things. I'm just gonna assume you just talk shit about me, and I'm gonna find out like a week later. This goes live.
Yeah, so I have push to talk for this call. I'm probably gonna turn it off. Hopefully, it won't get too much of an echo. And if we do, then I'll turn it back on. But I have it for echo reasons, like just for life and work in general. But anyways, I turned it off. We'll see how it goes. Good to see you.
Hands are on the steering wheel.
Thank you for joining me. Look, I wanted to jump right in just by you describing yourself in your own words. Who is James Landino?
Oh God, this is hard starting. Who am I? So I'm a gamer. I don't know if you know this, but I play video games sometimes, and I had the bright idea of what if I turned every hobby and passion I had in my life and made it into a soul-sucking job where I had no more hobbies anymore, right? Let's go down the list. Music, video games, anime. Those are all of my jobs now. Oops. So yeah, I know. By the way, am I allowed to swear? Can I just fucking? Well,
you can say whatever, dude. No, this episode's sponsored by absolutely fucking no one. I mean, I don't like.
Fuck Apple. Fuck Weed Maps. Yo, Weed Maps. Yo, I'm coming. Fuck Weed Maps.
No, but for real, we were just talking about this before as like a mic check. Thank you, by the way. I appreciate that. And I think that's what I love about you, right? I think that like you're an example of someone who leans in all the way and doesn't give a single shit about that, like about the reaction, right? Like, I'm doing me, I love it, fuck you kind of thing. That's the vibe I get from you. This is the first time I've spoken to you face to face, but is that correct? Is that, did I nail it?
think it's half true. I think I like to be me. I think I've always had a sense of who I am and having I have no shame. I care what people think of me, but I certainly have no shame. And if I embarrass myself and people get a laugh out of it, I think that's good job me.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, that checks out. Okay. Well, okay. On this topic, I just want you to like knowing kind of the fringe stuff we know about you right now. Maybe there are some people who know you from some of the ITG songs they've played. Maybe people are, you're hardcore fans and have followed all the myriad games you've worked on and everything you do in DJing and whatever after all the games are done too.
Right.
What is like one unbelievable fact about you? Like what is something like even the most hardcore of James Landino fans would not believe is true about you?
An unbelievable fact. Shit. You put me in the spot. This is like the hardest one. Like everything after this is gonna be like cakewalk.
Correct. You're correct.
Fun fact about me. Fuck. That's like normally.
It does not be fun.
See,
just unbelievable.
For normal like interviews, like let's just be clear. This is not normal. We're a bunch of rhythm game nerds who fucking play a single video game for thousands of hours. Like nothing about us is normal, right? So let's just get that out of the way. But for normal people who don't who don't spend thousands of hours on rhythm games, I would be like, oh, I was like top 100 in the world in high school at Stepmania on the Stepmania leaderboards. Like that'd be like a fun fact. But for my audience here, you're like, whatever, you're fucking okay. Like it's nothing fun about it. Everyone would just judge the shit out of me. So, God, yeah. I don't know what else is fun about me. I mean, I was like state level, like a tennis pro player, not pro player, but I was like a state level like tennis player, played Division III in college. Like, I think in terms of my audience who may not know, I think they would not know how I have a very athletic side to me. Like I play a lot of sports growing up. Obviously it translates to DDR just by athletics, but like I have a whole like 10, 15 years of like playing tennis for most of my life.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that influenced you and for like creating music in any way, or do you feel like those were completely separate parts of your life?
I would say they're pretty separate, and I think that especially when I was in high school, and I don't know if anyone else, of you or anyone else in the chat can relate to that, but for me, it felt like I had a double life where it was like I had my like ultra, because back then, like even like 10, 15 years ago, it's like your nerdy side was not that cool or apparent, like, so for me, it was just, I was in this weird middle zone where like I was good at sports, so people at school liked me for that, and then like the 2 or 3 nerds in my like class, like actual nerds, were like, oh, but James is actually cool because he actually watches anime and plays a rhythm game for thousands of hours, so either side, like one side didn't get the other side, and I kind of had to play like the middleman, I guess, of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry about the echo. Let me know if it's gone, chat. Apologies. This is my first time setting this up, so there's bound to be bugs, but definitely let me know.
Would that help?
Yeah, I may also actually wear headphones. I do have them here. So let me actually switch right now.
Man. You look
Hey, you too. You too. Okay, look at that. We should have done that from the beginning, but anyways, you live and you learn. I mean, most people's eyeballs are here because you are a musician. So would love to and frankly, this this interview series is called Niche. So would love for you to just tell us how your love for music blossomed. Like what made it your life's focus, or is it just a career for you?
For the money, man. Yeah,
big time.
Man, that niche money. No, I think so. It's funny. Actually, I guess this is more of a fun fact too. Is like most people, my journey into music started out with. So my parents had a rule for me and my brother, which was that growing up we had to play one instrument until the end of high school, and we had to play one sport at least until the end of high school. So that was good parenting rules. Like you're well rounded, more or less. So for me, it was
I did the
piano.
same.
And, yep, very good. And so I started at the age of 5. I was playing piano, and let me tell you, I fucking hated it. I wanted nothing to do more than quit the motherfucking piano every single day of my life. And not
What
only
did
that,
you hate about it? Wow, that's intense. Wait, what did you hate about
I
it?
hated the piano. Everything about classical. So I grew up in classical music originally. So the idea of like, I don't know if you played classical music or people in the chat may know about the classical click, as it will. It's so nerve-wracking because everyone is judging you for like performing, even as a kid, it's like they're judging you for playing a piece exactly how some old guy 400 years ago, he wrote the song, played it that exact way. And I wanted nothing to do with that. And the idea of doing like concerts and recitals like by myself, like on piano, is just an anxiety mess. I was just an anxiety ball who could not exist. But I had to do it because that was just the rules of the house.
That was your instrument. That was your instrument.
That was the thing. Yep,
Yeah.
I know. And so I would even go as far to say that I even hated like the idea of music, which I'll get to that a bit later.
Holy shit.
It sounds
Wait, so
yeah.
you were like the other direction. You weren't even like, oh, let me soak up this wonderful piano music. You were like, I'm gone.
No, dude, I wanted to hear fucking nothing. I was like everything, because you have to understand this is the 90s. Like I'm a 90s kid. So like what more or less the music you heard back in the 90s was on the radio, and I could not stand music on the radio. Sure. I just didn't like it. I didn't relate to it. I couldn't understand half the lyrics because just who knows what people were like. I just couldn't understand it. And it wasn't but I'll say this. Looking back, when I was like 5, 6 years old, was at the same time when I started playing video games. Because when on my first console was kind of simultaneously a Game Boy, like the original Game Boy, and a Nintendo 64. And
good choices.
I just think one of my first memories was like I would be like 6 years old and I would put like Pokemon in, and I would literally put that game in because the original Game Boy like had like a speaker built into it, and so I would like what I would do is I'd put a game in and then put the Game Boy to my ear like a conch shell because I was too stupid to know what headphones were yet. But I would put it to my fucking conch shell because I was like, yo, this music's sick though. And that was true for a lot of N64 games too. Like I would play games, not realizing at the time how much I loved video game music before I even realized like I loved music, if that makes any sense. I didn't associate the two as like, oh, I love music. And so it wasn't until I would say, so I went to computer camp. I was like 11 or 12 years old at the time. I went to computer camp because I wanted to work on video games. That was always the goal, was like 5-year-old me was like, video games are amazing. This is the coolest thing I ever seen in my life. I want to do this if I could do it for a career. It's like you're in kindergarten and your teacher asks you like, Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an astronaut. It's like, no, I want to fucking, I want to be Mario. I want to be Sonic. Like,
I love
my
that.
idea of, yeah. So I went to computer camp when I was 10, 11 years old because I was like, I want to go do video games. And my parents were cool enough to find me a computer camp to learn about video game development for as far as I could teach me. And there was someone at computer camp, I don't remember the name, who showed me a website called Flash Revolution.
Hell yeah.
I was like, what is this thing? Because he was just playing a game like during our break, during whatever. And this guy was a super rhythm. Yeah.
I'm going to hit pause right there. Right now, in 2023, how many people who play dance games do you feel like are aware of what FFR is?
That's a great question. I would say, I think most people, I think if I had to guess, 1/3 of chat would know what it is. 1/3.
Okay, please continue. FFR, you heard of FFR? Holy shit! What is that?
Yeah, exactly. So Flash Revolution, holy shit, what is this? And kind of at the same time, I learned what Dance Dance Revolution was. I didn't have a PlayStation growing up, so like I didn't have the console version of that. Like I saw it at the arcades, I didn't really associate, but I was like, whoa, Flash Revolution is so much fun. I love this. And then he showed me, I think technically the first DDR game I played was Party Collection on the Japanese PS2, and DDR Party Collection I think it was, because it had a bunch of stuff from Extreme that was not in the US version.
Oh yeah.
So I think Party Collection was like I think was the first console game where you could get those extra songs. And so yeah, so I just got blown away. Like I think one of the first songs I heard from DDR was A by DJ Amuro.
Oh,
and I was like,
fantastic choice.
So
oh yeah.
Right. So my brain is like, hearing like Tub Thumpin', and like Blink-182, which is like one thing, and now I'm hearing fucking A. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I have never
Classic
heard of my
Konami,
life.
Dude. Classic Konami.
Yeah. It's fucking amazing. So that was the switch. That was the switch where I was like, I fucking love rhythm games. I love rhythm game music. And then about a year into me playing FFR, I noticed that they had submissions for people to submit content for the game to be played. And I was like, wait a minute. I do know piano. I love video games. What if I could make levels? What if I could write music even? And that was the switch to the path where I'm at now, almost 20 years later, where I'm now working on video games.
That is so incredible. That is so,
Yeah.
so incredible. So it's safe to say that FFR got you your career.
100%.
I mean, that's simply crazy. I feel like we could literally take hours just on this topic. So why don't we diverge a little bit? But I'm sure we're gonna come back to dance games. I want to go slightly adjacent to dance games,
Okay.
and so my community knows that I notoriously don't like denpa or most styles of anime music. I mostly just describe it as like, young women screaming or yelling at each other. I don't enjoy it at all. I'm also an anime noob, total noob, right? I don't know a lot about anime. I've seen One Punch Man, and I've seen a little bit of Samurai Champloo, which I've heard is like something that I would love. But I love art, I love music, all kinds. How do you sell as an anime fan, as an anime creator? I mean, I don't know if you consider yourself an anime creator, but you're someone who's very influenced by anime and loves anime. How do you sell someone like me on this culture or this type of music? Like, what's the deal?
So to kind of address two things. So I would not call myself an anime fan. What I would
Okay,
say I am
fair
is
enough.
I like good shows.
Okay.
And it just so happens that a lot of shows that I tend to enjoy and I guess identify with, on more rare cases happens to be, anime. And so one of my first anime I ever watched, and probably my favorite anime of all time, is probably Kare Kano, which is His or Her Circumstances. And what it is a rom-com. So based, do you know Evangelion? I assume you do, but have you watched Evangelion?
I haven't watched it, but like it's some of my closest friends' like favorite anime.
That's fine. So, for those of you in the chat who may or may not know, so Kare Kano was directed by the same guy who directed Evangelion. If you know anything about that, you're like, how the fuck did that guy direct a rom-com? And because the manga source is just a super shoujo, like, targeted for women. And this guy who, bless his heart, was like, I want to take the shoujo manga and make it into some psychological shit. And it's awesome because it deals with the psychology of like kind of a real, because most, like, when you think about like high school like shows, like, whether it's Japanese or Western, like usually it's like teenage drama and in a very kind of like
Saved by the Belly.
Yeah, just it's kind of like lighthearted, or takes itself way too seriously. Like Becky cheated with Bubba at the party, and I don't relate to that. I'm playing video games in my fucking bedroom because I have no friends. Like, I don't relate to Becky cheated on me at the bud party. I don't have that experience. But what I did relate to was certain kinds of anime that were set in high school, and they usually talk about like what it's like being a loner in high school, which that's me. So at the time, I really enjoyed a lot of anime, and I still do today, but I like good shows that I relate to, that I can identify with, or that tell a cool story. And usually, I think Japanese anime can tell more interesting stories on similar themes or settings than, say, American shows do. That's my take on that.
I like that. I think that's a good like kind of summary statement. And I think that I mean, I definitely feel like most people would agree who consume other countries' media.
Yeah.
American media is like pretty tame. It's like doesn't really, it's pretty formulaic. It's like pretty, I don't know. It's just like whenever I think about any pocket of media, it just seems like very much like the rest of our country, which is like based in like strip malls, fast food, like this kind of like sausagey churning kind of factory. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of the vibe.
Some people like sausage, man.
Sure, I like sausage. I
me
eat
too.
It's fine. It's all good. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting, like getting that exposure. So yeah, I guess I mistook your the level to which you liked anime, but that's all good. I feel like you summed it up well. I do know that you love kind of like traveling, and you're big into Japanese culture. I've been there 2 or 3 times. I'm curious, like, what are some things, I talk about this with my friends all the time, what are some things you feel like American culture can influence, like, or should have some greater influence in Japan? What are some things we could borrow from like Japanese culture, like in America, to just like, if we could somehow have like a culture exchange, like make both societies improve somehow? Like, what are some like things you like about us versus visiting Japan?
So I think the first thing that comes to my mind immediately is trains. Like, I just love
Oh,
like, I love trains. Like, of course we have in New York City, but it's just different. I don't know if you've been. I assume you've been to New York
yeah,
City,
yeah,
right?
totally, yeah,
And it just hits different. It just like the train system is the ecosystem of Japan. Without getting into the history and whys of Japan, because we'll be here for another 5 hours.
yeah, yeah.
That's the first baseline. I think another thing I really like about Japan is how what I love about Japan is how conscious they are about space. And for us Americans, I think I don't want to say we take for granted that how much space we have in theory, but I really like how just
I think
like
we do.
yeah, we probably do. I really like how conscious people in Japan are about space. It's like do we need a bajillion parking lots? Go back to the train point. Do we need to cover miles and miles of
Bro,
parking lots to
I
cover?
hate parking lots.
So that's what I'm saying, right? I
Oh,
was in Virginia this past week to do a show at George Mason University, and it's like there's just like literally miles of parking lots to fill these
so
fucking
sad.
malls,
It's so
right?
sad.
And it's what I love about Japan is like you'll find like 20 restaurants like tucked away and hidden, in just one building. I love, honestly, like, when I started going to Japan, I started recognizing like how Japanese people would design like levels in video games in certain ways because they were inspired by their environment. And I think one example of that is like when you're in Tokyo and you're just, going deep into the city, like you'll just stumble upon like a little garden, like in the middle of nowhere, like not nowhere, but in the middle of Metropolis, you'll find like, a little cool garden somewhere. You're like, holy shit, there's this little garden here that has like a bench. And like this is where I'd find like the secret like post game content like space, like this little tucked away garden, nooked between like four Metropolis buildings. I love that. I love that I can just go like we call I guess like spelunking, right? When you go like into caves and explore
Yeah,
caves.
yeah,
There's like I feel like I'm like Metropolis spelunking in Japan, where it's like I'm
yeah.
just going down this little alleyway and I just found like a secret bar for like 5 people that's only open on Tuesdays at this hour, but if you find it, it's the fucking shit. I love that. I love that Japan has just an endless amount of like discovering just
Yeah.
the land and what you can kind of explore.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think about this often. Like, I don't know if you have this desire to travel constantly, but I do. And COVID really messed that up. So annoying. But yeah, I looking
I
forward
don't.
to visiting again.
Yeah, I've grown to enjoy being in new places just because I like to learn more and I like to learn about
Totally.
cultures.
Yeah.
I fucking hate planes though. So there's
Okay, fair enough.
there's this middle zone where I'm like, cool, can't wait to be in Japan. Oh fuck, I have to be in a plane for 12 hours. Fuck.
Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
So earlier, I wanted to just kind of jump around, keep it interesting for folks. Had a fan of yours, named Hunter in my server, who wanted to ask you something. So, he's a big fan of your work on Sonic ATS and Spark, and is curious how you met Lake Feppard.
That is a great question. So first off, thanks for the question, Hunter. So Hunter may be familiar. So another composer on those soundtracks, both the Sonic ATS, BTS, and the Spark games, is a composer named Fakao Young. So in college, Falk was at the same college as I was, Berklee College of Music in Boston, and at the time, like around 2010, like 2010 was basically like the transition point where people were like, video games are a multi-billion-dollar industry. Look at these AAA games, right? And so everyone, so on the audio side of things, I can't stress enough, like everyone and their fucking mom wanted to become the next Hans Zimmer, to make like the kind of Call of Duty epic AAA sound, orchestras, boom, video games live and all that shit. Which is fine. That's never been my speed, right? but everyone at school and at college wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Whether because it was for money reasons or because they were just passionate about it and they were inspired, great. But The only two people, more or less, who were not excited about that were me and Falco Young. We both loved Sonic the Hedgehog, and we both love rhythm games. So he sees me in class. We're doing some like game, like it's called like a game audio derby, where like you show off like your latest like demos or pieces in front of other like students, and
Yeah.
everyone had like their Hans Zimmer like epic fucking whatever. And then I wrote some fucking Sonic music because that's just what I loved. And Falk was like, "Yo, we should talk." So Falk
That's
was
so sick.
Yeah, so Falk was connected with Lake Feppert, the developer of the Sonic fan games and the Spark series, and was like, "Hey, I want you to get on board for this fan game I'm doing called Sonic Before the Sequel. I'd love to have you on it because I know you love this shit." And I'm like, "I sure do." So, we basically just headed off, and we're still friends to this day. We both work together on other projects, like No Stray Roads, as well as Omega Strikers. So, it's really like that was the start of the beginning of a lot of like my actual career into video games.
That's so amazing, man. Yeah, I think so many people just feel like careers and opportunities are just like a straight shot. Like you just go from A to B and then B to C and then
No,
C to D. And
no.
I think that like that is just having, I'm 35 now and I feel like I'm getting up there in my career at least, maybe not in age, but like kind of an age also. But like I feel like it's really interesting. I think it's very zigzaggy, and it can manifest as simple as just like you literally liking the same video game as someone. Like I think that that's crazy.
Well, it goes to show too. I don't know how people in the chat are interested in a career in video games or game music or whatnot. But like, if there's one thing that's rings true is as I've told people at panels I've done or whatnot, it's like by and large, like you know, you network by making friends with people, right? Like that's always how it's worked for me, anyways. Like I always just like made friends with people, and like people who I was friends with, even back on like Bamani style forum days, like when I was 15, like friends who I made when I was 15 are some of the people who I know and work with now or have worked with. And that's just the coolest thing. Like the guys who ran Bamani style are people I've worked with on their music label called Attack the Music. And it's just, it's just a matter of just making friends because you both enjoy the same things and you're both nerding out over the same stuff that usually one thing leads to another. Typically.
To be young again. I want to keep talking about this topic. I want to talk about friends. I think it's interesting, someone like yourself who is absolutely more famous than I am, but like probably less famous than like Tim Henson of Polyphia. Um, how do you think about people that you like in your life? To give you a sense of what I mean, I think about like fans, acquaintances, friends, family, maybe as like kind of like a caste system. Maybe it's fucked up, but that's kind of how I think about it. And I feel like I talk to, maybe people who have a large following. Like I'm friends with like some actors and some other, I don't know, something like people who have like a big following, right? And it's just like, it's interesting. It's like, how do you think about people in your life when you are a certain level of celebrity?
So at the baseline, I don't think of myself as a celebrity, even if people see me that way. And I guess if I try to be self-aware about it, like when I'm at conventions and I meet fans, they eventually, some of them will say like, "Oh, James, like you seem really cool and chill," and I'm just like, "Bro, I'm a fucking gamer." Like at the end of the day, it's like it's always surprising. I think they get surprised because I don't know if I'm if I appear a certain way or present a certain way. I don't know, but like I'll talk to someone who's a fan of mine, I suppose, for like a minute or two, and then we'll just start nerding about Sonic, like really deep, like Sonic lore, and it's like, and they're like, "Oh wait, you actually know your shit." It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, of
you're a
course I
legit
do.
fan. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, and not like, "Oh, go me," but more like, what, like. I didn't get here by kind of like you can't fake this shit is what I'm
yeah,
trying to get. You can't for the level of Sonic nerd I have in me or the level of like of rhythm game nerd I have in me, you can't fake that shit.
yeah.
So I think sometimes people are surprised at how deep it goes with me, and they're always like, "Oh, whoa!" And I'm like, "Yeah, man." So I always like to have that moment where it's like, dude, at the end of the day, we're just fucking nerds. Like, sure, I have a career and I'm
Totally.
really blessed with that career, but at the end of the day, it's like you and me are the same.
I love that attitude. I think for me, like whenever people ask about like dance games, I just say I'm a micro celebrity because it's like that's what it's like in this very tiny group of people. I am somehow like well known,
Mhm.
and I just find that really fascinating. And it's like But I totally agree with you. Like, I think it's like, I love how you're just like, just a fucking gamer, because that's literally the second thing I say. It's just so funny. I love that. I love that shared perspective. It's too
Yeah,
funny.
man.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, yes, like, and I suppose, I have fans and I have friends, and whatnot. And
yeah,
sometimes, fans become friends, because like
totally.
just over time, like I meet someone who's a fan, but they're just a really cool guy or a cool girl or whatever. And it's like, oh, let's just be friends.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so I try not to think about it too much, ironically, not going to name names, but like, if anything, like I would say a subset of my friends like do not care for my music, and I perfectly am fine with that because it's
Totally.
like, you know what I mean. So for me, like if you're a fan of mine, if you're not a fan of mine, but you're a cool person, it doesn't really. I'm like, fuck yeah, if you're cool, you're cool.
I think that's a really healthy attitude.
Yeah,
So if I understand your career correctly, you went from being full time at Harmonix, is that correct, to being independent?
that is correct. Yes. So the
Okay.
journey, this simply speaking, started my career. I don't say start my career, but I would say I would start my, I guess, my post college leg of my career.
Yep. Yep.
At Harmonix, I was starting QA and then went into audio after like a year later.
Yep.
Worked there for about 4 or 5 years, got laid off as you do in the game industry. And
Sure.
I was like, and like literally like the day I got laid off, I was like, cool, I'm gonna move to LA now and just do that full time. And I'm saying that very simply and easy because it fucking wasn't. But
Yeah.
like simply that's what the journey was. Like, okay, I'm gonna go do this now. And now, 5 years later, I'm here just do my own thing, working on a bunch of different games and projects. I started my own company for audio and working with like composers within my team
Yep.
2 years ago, and that's been great, man. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna ask you specifically about those first few months, because like I think about my life post Discord all the time. Like it's like I kind of want to move on from working in tech. I feel like especially now with like all these like hundreds of thousands of layoffs and everything, it just feels icky and bad, and it's not my passion. I really do like it. I like my career. I love my team at work. I think they're amazing, but I think that ultimately I do think about like what's next, right? So
Yep.
when I think about you, James, like going from I didn't know you were laid off, but I think just it's a transition that's hard anyways. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, what are the skills you have now, right? After all these things that you've done that you rely on, to survive today, versus like what skills did you need then? Like when you went from switching to independent, like immediately, like moving to LA, all that stuff, like what did you have to do? Like what were your skill? What? Yeah.
So the more I think about it, and this may sound a little crazy, I guess, but like I kind of planned for my layoff by day one of me going to Harmonix, because I know statistically speaking, like especially in the audio disciplines, but just in the industry, like layoffs are just like during my time at Harmonix, we went through 9 layoffs. In my
Oh my
first year, we went like
god.
2 or 3. It was like it was crazy, and like that was just like the flag in my head of like, okay, my time here has an expiration date. I don't know how or when or why, but I need to be ready for that day to come. So I started just saving up, and kind of I would just put bluntly, like I just did double 2 full-time jobs worth. I would literally go to work, do my job there, go home, and then work on more game music. And I was trying to live like the independent composer life while having a full-time job, to the point where I got called in the office once or twice saying, "Hey James, we're working on a lot of our games that are not our games. What's going on with that?" And they're not happy with, it wasn't quite moonlighting or being competitive, but they certainly weren't happy about that. And I kind of feeling why, without getting to the sauce of things, that was
Yeah.
the red flag for me to know that my time was coming up soon anyway. So the day I got laid off, I was like, oh yeah, of course I was next in the chopping block, because I was trying to build up my own equity outside the company. I was trying to work on my own stuff. So, you know, maybe this is a non-answer to your question, but like basically, I was learning everything of what I need to do
Mm-hmm.
post layoff, before the layoff, so that way the band-aid could be as easy as just ripping it off without pain at all, as far as it can be. You know, but I think, to further answer your question for a hot minute further, I think the biggest thing was just learning how to be, self-managing. It's like
Mm-hmm.
now I'm playing with live ammo. Like if I don't get out of bed and do a work today, like that could be my last day as a full-time musician. So I had to kind of just maintain a good healthy structure, learn about myself as a, a professional. Like, okay, I work best during these hours, during this thing, and why. And I think that's the journey of being freelance that I had to go, do for myself, was just learning about myself more as a human being and how to maximize like being the best me, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. That's really insightful. I think it's hard, right? Like I think part of the 9 to 5 or greater, right? If you're like in most other industries that are like not tech, it's designed to like wear you out, right? And you don't get
Right.
that extra time at home to focus on the skills you want to develop to be successful down the line. Or God forbid you get the skills at your job, right? Which is like depending on you to deliver at work for money, right?
Exactly.
You should get built-in training time at work too. So that's messed up that there's nothing like that. Yeah, I think I'm curious how much you keep up with like music tools and education and various things today, because I know about the company you have. If you want to talk about that, like that'd be great to hear kind of the service you provide from Rare Drop. But yeah, I think just in general, if some music game nerd like yourself in the FFR days wants to start making music, they hear a James Landino remix, they're like, what the fuck, I want to do that. Like, do you have kind of like a elevator pitch, or do you have like a set of things that you would tutorials that you would recommend to someone just starting?
It's hard. So I would say for anyone who wants to start writing music in general, my advice, I think, is the one that I did when I started writing music when I was 12 years old, which was I got my start remixing game music or anime music. So if you want to start like doing music, I think before you start writing a piece of music, you learn the tools. You learn like, so I use software called a digital audio workstation, a DAW for short. And this is the standard type of program that people use. So there's programs like Fruity Loops, now called FL Studio or FL. You have FL Studio, you have Ableton, you have Pro Tools, you have Reaper. Reaper is legally free, by the way, right? You have Logic Pro, you even have GarageBand technically. These are all programs that you can use to write music. And so my advice and what I did when I started was I would remix Mario. I remember distinctly the first song that I ever got accepted on FFR was a Tetris remix. It sounds, terrible by today's standards because I was 13 when I made it. But I did a Tetris remix. I did a Mario remix. I did a, I think I did a Frozen Ray remix by DJ Taka. Like I
Sick.
did ton. Yeah, like
That's a deep cut.
I mean, yeah, like Frozen Ray's the shit, and like that's kind of segueing into it. Like that's how I got good, I think, at music, was because there's so many more tools now. Like if you hear a song, you're like, oh, I want to learn how to play it. There's a lot of like tools out there to kind of help you out, like algorithmically figure it out and give you the notes or give the sheet music. Back in 2005, good luck. You're not going to find a MIDI or sheet music of Frozen Ray. And it, even now there may not be a thing that exists yet, right? So I had to figure it out by ear. 13-year-old me is sitting on the fucking piano, the thing I hate doing when I'm 13 years old. Like, fuck this piano, but I gotta figure Frozen Ray, and
that is one of the easier piano songs, though. Let's be honest.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? So I would spend hours at home, when no one was looking, when no one was around. I'd fucking figure out Frozen Ray by ear, and that's how I got really, really, really good.
Yeah.
At music was training my ears, so that way if you played like chords or notes to me right now, I could tell you exactly what those notes are. That's how you get good at music.
Well, there you go. If you are listening in the chat, that is the definitive answer that will be quoted in the New York Times tomorrow. Okay, I want to do this segment. I think it'll be fun. I'm calling it myth busting. So I don't know, it might be trademarked, so don't quote me on that. But myth busting. I'm going to go through 5 random, not very random, very, very organized topics. You, James, tell me what is the most misunderstood thing about each of these topics. All right. Number 1, DJing.
The most misunderstood thing. Ooh. I think a misunderstood thing about DJing is that people think it's really hard or really easy. And
I love that. Yeah.
It's kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And the best way to explain is that, of course, the fundamentals to technically DJ, like functionally speaking, it's pretty easy. technically you do.
It's a rhythm game.
Play. Yeah, technically you do press play. Technically you just press play and then you press play another song, and if you press play really good at the right time, damn, you got a set going. It bops, right? You're doing great. And so that is DJing. It is easy. Also, when we're DJing live on stage and the people who have no clue about DJing are like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Look at all these knobs. This guy's going crazy. I don't know what he's doing. It's not that complicated, right? It's not rocket science. I am technically also just pressing play really, really, really good.
You're not controlling the smoke machine also, are you?
One time I did, it was fucking sick. So sometimes on stage, we do get to press the button for the smoke machines and for the fog machines, like the, like we do get those buttons sometimes. It's fucking awesome. But so by and large, no, we don't have control over that. The best way I can explain DJing functionally is that it's like flying a plane. If anyone knows what you mean by that, it's like from what I understand, flying a plane, once you know how things work, it's not hard to do. The plane, from what I understand, like technologically speaking, planes almost pilot themselves, right?
Sure.
The reason why there are pilots and shit is because of layers on layers of safety and security. Cool. And the same applies to DJing. It's like flying a plane. It's like, yeah, I just gotta press play, and then press play again, and then find another song and press play. But if I don't fly the ship very good, the plane's gonna crash, and then the full fucking party's ruined, and then everyone's upset. So there is this pressure that comes with DJing where you have to execute. Like, sure, I'm pressing play for an hour, but you got to execute, to make
There's
sure
like
that
musical taste, reading the room, right?
Musical taste, reading the room. I think it's a lot of prep work too. Like, when I DJ live, I don't know what I'm gonna play. The only thing I do know by and large is I know like the first song or two that I'm playing, and I know the last song I'm finishing with usually.
Yep.
Usually. But everything in the middle, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I have no idea. I'm about to fly this plane. We'll see what happens. And and to the point about how easy or hard DJing is, yes, technically, I could pre-record my entire set and press play, and the whole set is done for me. The problem with that is, if you're 5-10 minutes into your set and no one likes your pre-recorded set, you're fucked. You gotta own that next 50 minutes of dread and misery because you pre-recorded something that everyone thinks stinks. So it is both advantages and disadvantages if you pre-record everything, right? So I think that's the kind of biggest misconception is that like
I like
DJing
that's good.
Yeah. But I think by the end of the day, though, it's like I'm a DJ, and DJs will drink or do drugs. But it's like if you can drink on the job, how hard is it really, though?
Oh man, yeah, I had a blast doing it, like bedroom style in grad school. It was so much fun. I had a mix track, a Newmark mix track, and MacBook and a PA, and just like went to like basements and like, oh, it was so fun. Very, very, very fun. Okay. Another Mythbuster. Most misunderstood thing about working in video games or on video games.
Misunderstood. I think I'll say it this way.
We share this, by the way. I've worked in games for about 3 or 4 years, so I know a little bit.
I think you'll agree with me on this. At least I assume you had this experience. For me, at least, though, games that I thought would be like passion projects, like the apex of like, this is the kind of project I've always wanted to work on. This is my dream project. And then you find out that shit just fucking stinks. The project development stinks. The people stink sometimes in a lot of cases.
So people,
right?
The answer is people. Sometimes the people.
We'll get to that. But you're right in the mark there. And so it's like, and vice versa. I've worked on, I would go into a project where I'm like, this seems kind of lame, to be honest. Like, this seems like no one's going to care about this game. And then I work on it and it's the fucking blast. And why? Because it's the people. And so what I tell people is like, the best thing about this industry is the people. The worst thing about this industry is the people.
Yeah, and I think that's spot on, because when you think about the most misunderstood thing, yeah, I mean, it do be like that. It do be like that. Okay, what about most misunderstood thing about your favorite game of all time, which is
if you put a gun to my head, it's my favorite game of all time. It's probably DDR.
Yeah,
Just by
it's
sheer
hard.
numbers, it's gonna be DDR. What do I think is most misunderstood about DDR? Ah,
Bet we got some opinions in the chat. That's for sure.
ooh. I think the most misunderstood thing about DDR, I think, is I don't know. It's misunderstanding, but I'll say it anyway. Just more of like a little bit of a hot take of mine, I guess. That the best thing I think, and this I'm gonna be a bit of a boomer here when it comes to rhythm games, and maybe I'm in good company because you're in the same age bracket as I am. That what I liked about rhythm games of the past of our generation when we were playing them, when we grew up, was that rhythm game music was not trying to be rhythm game music by and large. It was
Okay.
trying to just be cool fucking music that maybe or maybe not didn't exist. But I love the idea that, like, in poppin', it's like, it's just a grab bag. It's like, let's put 3 words together and make a new genre. Cuddlecore. What the fuck is that? I don't know. Let's figure it out. What's cuddlecore, guys? Right? That was cool to me. It really felt like we worked backwards. It was like, let's just make up a genre and figure out what the fuck that sound is. And nowadays, it feels like the opposite, where people have this idea of what rhythm game music should sound like, and I have these reservations, and that a lot of rhythm game soundtracks tend to sound samey to me. Not all the time. But generally speaking, I find that it can sound very samey or a bit insular.
Yeah.
It's like inspired by itself, where it's like, cool. This is like, they're cool songs. They're technically impressive in a lot of cases, but to me, I wish there was more heart into, let's just create music that doesn't exist, that just happens to be in a rhythm game, versus let's make 220 BPM music with 60-note drill runs because it makes for great boss song music.
Yeah.
That's how I see
that's
it.
a really good take. Yeah, that's a really good take. Like I agree with you. I think there are standouts, but there's not enough standouts, I think. I feel like when you hear a boss song like Endymion, you're like, fuck yeah. Like, this is like listening to Endymion for the first time was like listening to Max 300 for the first time. I don't know about you. I don't know if you feel that. Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
I feel like strongly about that. But then I think that looking at the mass amounts of, like, let's take, for example, I think someone said this in the chat, but Sound Voltex. Literally, like, half the songs in that game sound the same to me. Like, I'm maybe more. I don't like, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. It's
So
that's a really cool point that you made.
And to your point, it's like, if Konami knocks my door one day, fingers crossed, like, I would like to try to make music that at the very least feels like, okay, this doesn't sound like the rest of the soundtrack, which I think for some people who play like a Sound Voltex may be like turned off by it. They might be like, well, this is not what I wanted. And fine, fair enough. I would like to at least try to stick out, in some capacity, or at least when I work on a new rhythm game, I go through the catalog and try to, like, kind of notice, like, where are some like places that may feel like there's like voids, or like there's like little, like, oh, there's not enough of this thing. I want to make more of this thing. That's how when I'm allowed to. That's how I try to write music for rhythm games these days. Is like, try to fill a void, I guess, that to give something different.
I love that. On that note, what about the most misunderstood thing about making music?
The most misunderstood thing about making music. I think people, I don't know. I wonder. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That's allowed. That's allowed, by the way.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think, or at least before you start talking to me, did you have an impression that when I wrote music that I would often use alcohol or weed or something to inspire ideas?
No, definitely not.
No, you didn't. Okay. Because in my mind, that I always wonder. It's like, I wonder if people think that James was on XYZ thing when he wrote this cool thing. And a lot, I guess, I think side point answer is usually no. Like, a lot of people were not, on drugs when they wrote the song. But cool. I'm glad you don't think that, and I assume maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people don't think of that, don't think that anymore.
I think you're, from what I know about your outside presence, I think you're fashionable. That's about like, and I think you're a nerd. That's about all I know.
Wow, thanks, man. Yeah. No, actually, here's a good misunderstanding: is that people. So most of the time when we write music for video games, the deadlines are bullshit. So it's not like, oh, this game was in development for like 4 years and therefore I had 4 years worth of music. No, 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 no. That'd be great. No, what happens is usually it's like, hey, this game comes out in 3 months and we need things due in 2 weeks. Can you write some music? Because we gotta send this. So I guess the misunderstanding is that in a lot of cases, video game music that you love, you should also add the fact that your favorite video game song was probably written in like a few days max, because deadlines for video game composers are fucking insane and ridiculous. So not only can that composer write a 6 song, they wrote that song in like a day or 2 probably, which is just fucking mind blowing.
Don't you love capitalism? This feels great. Right? Feels so good.
Don't you love project mismanagement too?
Oh yeah. Oh, this is gonna get recorded and put somewhere later. I'm not gonna talk about anything. Okay, so I think we got one more, and you can choose.
Don't worry, this is a niche audience. They're not gonna find
it. Sure is. You get to. This is a choose your own adventure. I'm gonna say 2 related things. You can pick which one you think you want to answer. Most misunderstood thing about either being a music student or specifically being a Berklee College of Music student. You get to pick if you want to do one or the other.
The biggest misunderstanding of me being a college student or
like a student studying music, like I think that it's not a lot of people are aware, like what this is where I'm going with this. Not a lot of people are aware like what kind of degrees there are for music, what your classwork is like, what you got to do, like do you got to do recitals? Okay. So like I'm just wondering like there's something about Berklee specifically you want to like call out. I don't know any Berklee memes. But I do have some friends that went there. I think they're all pretty fine people.
I think a decent misunderstanding. This may sound obvious to some people, but I think this is a misunderstanding. Is that if you go to music school, people think you're gonna be a better musician. You'll be a better musician or be a better composer.
Yeah.
And the answer is just fucking honestly no. There's as mean and or subjective as it sounds. I know a lot. I met a lot of musicians at Berklee, a lot of composers at Berklee, and some of their shit stinks. And that, in my opinion, some of their shit just fucking stinks. And vice versa, some people's shit was really fucking good. And it made no difference whether they went to class or not. You go to Berklee because you want to refine the fundamentals of your craft or the technical skills of your craft. But the actual creative ingenuity and the way that you write music, you still have to write your own book on how to write good music. Like the way how I approach music and how I write it, no one taught me that. I was self-taught for the first 5 years of my musical journey, and then went to college to learn more of the technicalities of like how like oscillators work and how signal flow works, the technicals and the programming of how you can create reverb, with code. Shit like that to help me understand the technicals of sound design and whatnot. And sure, did I learn some tricks along the way? Did I learn some production tricks or some mixing tricks or even like, theory? Of course I did. But no one taught me how to write good music. I still had to figure that out on my own and put in the man hours to write like 100 bad songs before I can write one good one, So I think that's the biggest misunderstanding, is that going to school will not fix bad music writing if you're not great at music writing, ultimately.
That's a good one. It sucks to hear, but I think that's a really good one. It's unfortunate. I wish there was a way to just like, how do you feel about this topic? Okay, we're out of this kind of like the myth busting. Okay. Hopefully that was kind of interesting to think about. But
I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm curious how you think that compares to art. Like, do you feel like visual art, like, so my fiance, I'm tempted to say wife because we actually just got our like marriage license, so it's exciting. We're like she's an artist and a designer, product designer by trade. And I'm wondering, is it easier? Is it harder? Is it kind of the same? Like, can you teach someone visual art? Is it different?
Well, can you teach someone visual art? I'm not sure about visual art because I don't do
drawing.
I don't know because here's the thing. Actually, you kind of have something interesting. And since I'm not a visual artist, so someone in the chat or you.
Yeah,
tell
I
me
want to
I'm
ask
wrong.
her. I want to ask her opinion too.
I
Like,
think,
it's interesting.
I think people, if so, like for example, if I know nothing about how art is made, but I see something that's very technically good, if I see the most technically perfectly drawn hand I've ever seen in my life, it looks like a fucking hand. Like everything about it is just like, damn, you just drew a hand perfectly. People will be impressed by that. They'll be like, holy
Yeah.
shit, you drew the perfect hand.
Right,
If
right, right.
I write a technically good song, where the fuck that means, that's impossible. Like, if I write the most technically perfect song,
That's
I can't.
cool.
That doesn't exist. That doesn't
Sure.
fucking exist. You know, like some of the best songs are like 5 fucking notes. So it is. So I think visual art has, dare I say, that advantage that you can be lauded for your craft just by being technically fucking awesome at it. And if you're technically awesome at music, you can still write shitty music. And I know because I've met those people.
I love that. I love that. Quick time check. We got 4 minutes left until we hit an hour. Thank you so much for your time. I wanted to ask you, because I literally don't know anything about it. What is Omega Strikers?
So Omega Strikers is a game I'm working on right now. I started working on it about back in June, July of last year. So Omega Strikers, basically a bunch of Riot alumni, more or less, were like, fuck it, we're gonna make our own Riot, guys. So a bunch of them moved to Canada. They started their own company 2 years ago, and their first game out of the gate is Omega Strikers, and it's basically like the best way I can describe it is like an esports air hockey Windjammers MOBA, and it's really cool. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds dope.
Yeah, you know, so we're about a year out from the game's launch, April 27th. It is free. You can pre-register right now on Switch and PC. It is free. It will be a free game, just like the Riot model of the game is free. You know, I assume that, I don't know what the business model is, but you know, I assume it was like, you know, buy skins or buy whatever, you know, this and that. But so I've been working on the soundtrack of this. Yeah, so I've been working on the soundtrack of this game for we're hitting about like 9 months now. And I'm now in the position also of being like a audio, you know, music lead of sorts, where so for the soundtrack, we hired out, not just myself, but 9 other composers, many of which were from the No Stray Road soundtrack, the Sonic fan game stuff that we've done. We brought them back for this to write music on the soundtrack. And I'm really proud of it. You know, we've been slowly you know, slow dripping, you know, new singles from the soundtrack every week. So if you go check out the socials, you know, we wrote character themes. So we wrote theme songs for every character, and then therefore every new character will have its own theme song. And so part of having the
job security, baby.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we got to crank out characters because we need more music.
Hell yeah.
So it's great. So one, it's fun because we have to write a ton of different genres of music. But 2, because there's so much genre of music we got to write, I'm like, instead of having me write a bajillion songs and a bajillion genres, why not go get the artist who's really good at that genre to come on board for a song? And it kind of works out because every character has their own composer in theory. And I think it's really cool and special. It really creates a lot of diversity and a lot of fun, you know, for the soundtrack experience. So this game has been a lot of fun to work on, and the music team killed it. I'm so proud of everyone involved. So yeah, if for people in the chat who are familiar with the work that I had done on Sonic before after the sequel, the Spark series, or No Straight Roads, it's pretty much the same exact team and then some. So definitely check it out.
That's amazing. Yeah, this is also going on YouTube, so I'm gonna get all the links from you. I'm gonna put them in the description. I'm gonna edit over this video probably and put like some visuals. But yeah, that is so cool. I can't wait to play it. I think it's super hype. I mean, it sounds super hype. At least we'll see how it actually turns out. I'm not gonna pre-register, pre-order shit, dude. Yeah. I'm an informed consumer. So I want to end on this one. I thought it was a good question, also from my server, from Sore. Do you have a dream rhythm game that you want to get a song into, or any like dream collabs or anything dream? What is the next dream James Landino is going
DDR,
after?
Man, just let's just close the circle. Konami, just give me one. Just give me DDR just one time. Then I can walk away, you know, saying I did it. I can quit music. I can quit everything. I did it, boys. Like, let's pack it up.
That's so dope, man. Well, thank you again for your time. I hope people catching this live on Twitch, thank you. You know, this was just an experiment that I chose to kick off with James graciously accepting my invite as first guest. And James, saying this very candidly, you're an absolute joy and blast to talk to, my man. And hope that we get to, I don't know, just chat more often, maybe off stream or just in general, just catch up, do something. Hopefully I can hire you for something. That'd be super fucking dope. Just going to pay you money so you can keep making music because you're really good at it.
Man. Thanks, man. Yeah. No, it sounds great. I appreciate you having me. It's been a lot of fun. I liked, you know, this was a really fun interview. So thank you for allowing me to be on here.
Cool. Well, with that, I'm gonna sign us out. So be sure to check out James on Omega Strikers, which is, I believe, it's coming out in a year or so.
It's coming out next month.
Coming out next month. Okay, excuse me, next month. So literally get hype, pre-order that. Cannot wait, and we'll see you for the next episode of Niche. Who knows who's gonna be the sponsor, the guest? We'll just have to wait and see. Peace. Thank you, James.
Thanks, guys.